Welcome to Empowered. I'm Elizabeth Naumovski. Most entrepreneurs bring their dreams or visions to life by putting together a business plan before starting their company. Different instances in their lives inspire and drive them to be successful. Having said that, spirituality doesn't often come up in a business plan. However, spirituality is a huge part of our drive as individuals. Today, I'm joined by Deb Niven, who is co founder, visionary, and connection maker at the Devine Destination Collection. Today's topic is whether spirituality and business can coexist. Welcome to Empower, Deb.
Thank you.
So, when you were starting on your own career path, did you always know that you were destined to be an entrepreneur?
I actually did not. I actually, being brought up in the 50s and 60s, I wanted to be like the best secretary ever or the best teacher ever or the wind beneath some man's wings
Yeah.
in business. And I thought I could do that quite well, but I was very afraid of being at the helm of something and taking that responsibility. But as time went on, I found I'm not an athlete, I'm not a singer, I'm not a painter, but work was my thing. I loved working. And yeah, I just, as I got better and better and better at it, through a lot of hard work, I started to see that I could actually become an entrepreneur, a leader, and an owner of a company. And as such, I own three.
So, congratulations, first of all. But second of all, yeah, I mean, you grew up in an era where if you didn't really know what you could do, you could become a
Mhm.
secretary. Take those typing classes, type 100 words per hour and you were golden. So what or who guided you in the beginning of your entrepreneurial journey?
Boy, I would say there was an inner voice inside me. Like I said, I didn't go to university either. So I got into the workforce when I was 17 out of grade 13. And my cousin got me a job at a company called Sun Tours. It was a wholesale travel, it was the first one actually to exist. I worked in the filing room and I don't know. I'm a nerd. I loved every single part of that job and I worked to innovate and it just was my thing. Like
Yeah.
some people can run marathons. I was like, this is work. This is my arena. And what can I do to make it better? And because I had that inner light, that guiding light and that energy and just a deep desire, I applied that to everything I did in that company, and I moved through that company really quickly, at a young age. So when people were getting out of university, I had already had 5 years working, experience.
Mhm.
And I don't know what it was. It was an inner voice that was going, "Wow, you love this." And as the jobs got higher, the responsibility and the work got harder. And I did want to. There were times when I wanted to sidestep that responsibility and that hard work. And then something inside me just said, you know what? If you buckle down and if you put your head to the grindstone and really embrace with that passion, you'll build a muscle just like a marathon runner builds the ability to run that marathon. So there were so many times I was afraid and I wanted to quit and thought I'm going to fail. But I thought if I just kept doing it, I would get better and it would be okay. And honestly, that's what happened.
So we have about a minute before we go to commercial break, but you
Yeah.
talked about the fact that you were afraid of failing and
Yeah,
you had that fear. Did you have
I did.
mentors, women, men, as you built each
Yes.
company and how did they differ in what they were able to offer you?
Interesting, it was almost, always men, and they offered me opportunity. They always gave me an opportunity that I thought was actually over my head. Um, and I was dating a man at the time who I actually owe a lot to him because there was a massive job that came available at that same company, and he made me go to the interview, and I was like, "You're no, I am not qualified for this job." He said, "You totally are, go and do it." And so I applied for that job, didn't get that job, but I ended up getting the job the girl who got that job got, and it was a much bigger job. Anyway, it was really an eye opener for me to
Okay,
see that
so
I was
When we come back, we'll continue
Yep.
with spirituality and entrepreneurship. Welcome back to Empowered. I'm Elizabeth Naumovski. Today's episode, we're discussing, can spirituality and business coexist? Deb, before we went to commercial, you were talking about how you had all these male allies that helped you. And that seems to be um, a recurring answer to a lot of my questions on the show. And, a lot of women have been thinking that, I only need females to help me get to that next level or help me advance. But recently, with a lot of the questions that I've been asking, all the women have been saying that, it's really important to surround yourself with male allies because they can open doors for you and actually help guide you to that next level. I want to ask this question of you because I ask it of all of my entrepreneurs that I interview. As different types of advice motivate different people, what would your best piece of advice be for those thinking about starting their own business?
I would say you do go with your gut. You go with your gut, and you balance that with your science. It is half inspiration, intuition, and half be prepared and ready to work hard. Nothing comes. There's no winning the lottery. Nothing comes easy in my experience. It
Mhm.
does come with putting the work in.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, nobody just comes out with a silver platter and starts giving you things. You really have to apply yourself, and it's a lot of hard work. Today's theme is about spirituality and entrepreneurship.
Mhm.
How do you define spirituality, and what exactly does it mean to you?
So for me, it just means, going inside, finding that power, that voice, that authentic me that's, in that quiet, still space. It's about knowing that me is connected to everything and everyone. And in that space, which, I mean, I say this as if I'm so connected to that place inside me. And at 65, I'm still learning to uncover the many layers that I've built to, keep myself safe and not really being connected to that deep inner person. But it's a quest. It's the search. It's seeking for that side of life that is more about the ethereal, that is more about your intuition, that is more about what you can't see and feel and touch, but exists.
So, as a spiritual woman, what role has spirituality played for you in the growth and success of your businesses? Because you do have three of them.
I do. And I would say that, I did a spiritual experience with my co-founder at Divine Destinations years ago. And out of that weekend, we had an incredible experience where we were tasked with a whole bunch of people being in a room to create a lunch, to create the decor, um, to create the meal, to create everything with no budget and no ideas and no resources. And in the beginning, you had to see how that was such a mess with all of these women actually. This is ridiculous. How can we make this happen? Blah, blah, blah. But as we started to settle, what we created from, 100 strangers in a room was one of the best meals and events I've ever attended in my entire life. So I took that experience and brought it to my largest business, which is the Winford Group. And I actually am in co ownership with a male. And together we have really learned to balance our energies. And again, that feminine masculine doesn't necessarily have to be gender related, but
Mhm.
we've taken our energies and through many fights and through many instances, but a lot of staying in the ring, we bring both of our energies to running that business. And he'll tell you, it's so much more successful than it would be if any one of us ran that company. And with Divine, we constantly search for destinations that are both sacred in their sites, special in their energy, but also provide a lot of luxury and a lot of unique ways to experience that destination. So I think what I want to say is that I'm always bringing duality to everything. Each business I have, the other business is a yoga studio and wine lounge.
Yep.
So there's that, nod to being wicked while, on the road to being well. And the dualities or the masculine, feminine, those two things, I really think they're part of my purpose in life to bring those things into balance in the world. And it is a journey. I'm still trying to do it. And together, Allison and I are trying to expose that experience to others while we
Hold that
travel.
thought, Deb. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Empowered. I'm Elizabeth Naumovski. Today's episode, we're discussing, can spirituality and business coexist? Deb, what have you learned about yourself through your own spiritual journey?
I've learned that intuition and that gut feeling is as important as your profit and loss statement. Like it, it always informs situations that you may need to, make better, or you may need to, capitalize on. Like that, bringing that piece to the table, to the boardroom, is equally as important as all the other, things you can see and hear and touch and feel and read and analyze. It's actually a game changer.
So, before we went to commercial break, you mentioned the word purpose a lot. Do you
Mhm.
believe there is a link between personal purpose and corporate purpose? And what is yours?
I do. I believe, and I think that's the sweet spot. That's the Venn diagram where if you can work in your career that, in a way that relates to what you believe your inner purpose is, then it's, nothing is easy, but do things are a little bit less, take a little less effort.
Mhm.
And my purpose really is, I believe, to help bring that balance of masculine and feminine energy into the world so they sit together side by side, capitalize on each other, work together, create that alchemy and that magic that really I think the entire world needs a lot more of, especially now. Um, but it's almost um, interesting that I came from believing I was less than, not as powerful as a man, and that I should be the wind beneath a man's wings, to the place where now, I sit beside men in the boardroom, equally bringing, that same kind of strength, but in different ways to the table.
I love that. I love that. And, the imposter syndrome ends up rearing its ugly head in a lot of the conversations that I have with women here. I know that I suffer from it every once in a while. Do you suffer from the imposter syndrome as well?
I don't think I do. Is that is that egotistical? Like I really think maybe when I was younger, yeah, when I was younger, I can say that for sure because when I spoke at any gathering, I always spoke from behind a podium
Mhm.
because I felt like I didn't really deserve to have my full presence on the stage and
Mhm.
own my power and own my position. But now I do. I really feel like what I'm doing, what I'm meant to be doing, and I belong where I am, and I've
That
earned
that
it.
that's wonderful, and yes, you have earned it. Wanna go back to spirituality. How can women bring
Mhm.
spirituality into their lives in simple, everyday ways?
So, meditation. I do a lot of meditation, and meditation, which I happily discovered, isn't finding that Zen, place where you've reached nirvana and suddenly all the noise stops. It's actually more about paying attention to what's going through your mind and saying, "Oh, I just thought about my shopping list. Okay, well, I don't need to think about that right now." But then nobody really ever gets that noise quieted, but the bringing your awareness to it, then there does come some peace and some calmness, and that's where that real authentic self bubbles up. I think walking, I have a dog. I think all animals bring us closer to nature,
I
bring us
agree.
closer to our spirituality. Yeah, love my dog. My children, obviously, and walking in nature. Also, take a trip with the Divine Destination Collection. I mean, because we are combining the luxuries and indulgences in this life, with high thread count sheets and taking you to sacred sites and allowing that space for you to just allow your own spirituality
Mm.
to emerge or not, because it's a safe space.
Deb, I have one more question on spirituality. How can spirituality impact business ethics and employees' morales? Because sometimes, it's hard to mix the two.
I think you're right. I know you're right. We've experienced it in all of our business, but I would say that in my larger company, we do have meditation hour moments, not hours. We do encourage all kinds of wellness, because wellness is the doorway or the pathway into self love, self care,
Yeah.
um, flexibility. Book. We have recommended readings. We have yoga. We do. There's many things that we include to help people just take a break
Hmm. And I think just
and
taking
get
a
back in
break,
touch with them.
I agree. And I think taking a break is very important. And we're going to take a break right now and come back in a few moments. Welcome back to Empowered. I'm Elizabeth Naumovski. I'm joined by Deb Niven, who's co-founder, visionary, and connection maker at the Devine Destination Collection. And today we're discussing whether spirituality and business coexist. And clearly we have heard that yes, it does. Deb, what three things do you believe women need to know in order to find their own power?
I think that staying in the ring when that feeling when you think, oh, if I say this, I'm going to sound airy fairy, or I'm going to sound like, it doesn't fall into the laneway of a business statement. I say, damn the torpedoes, and follow that voice always. And I would say always invite people who you see doing well or people that you admire. If you have access, for conversations, coffees, talk to them, ask them how they did it, what they're doing. And honestly, build the muscle, because when you build the muscle, then you don't have self-doubt. You know, when you really get good at something, then it's autopilot. You're just good at it. And you don't question yourself, which gives you all kinds of foundations for taking those extra risks and taking those leaps of faith and trusting that voice.
So I know that you believe that it's important for women to be connected to their own divine energy. Can you tell
Mhm.
us more about your vision for this?
So my vision for this, and I think working in a company that where I run it with a man, and I'm telling you, he's an alpha male and a magnificent human being. And I believe what we're doing is living a model that I think more companies should embrace, more cities, mayoral should be dual, prime minister hoods should be dual, presidencies should be dual, because together the they've said 1 + 1 = 3. Well, when Bernie and I come together with our decisions to make, I'll be entrenched in one and he'll be entrenched in another, and then we will fight it out to the place where not afraid of that conflict. The answer that comes out of that is 10 times better than mine ever was or his ever was. It happens over and over and over again. It's almost, like I said, alchemy. And so it doesn't have to be gender related, but to begin, as we change this world, I think that if it is gender related, it sets an example of what can be done when the two energies are honored as equally powerful. And so I think my role in this world, in what I'm trying to live right now, is to bring that into vision, into embody it, live it, lead that way, and he's doing the same. And we're hoping that maybe we'll do a speaker circuit at some point to talk about dual leadership and what it does for a company and what it can do for a community.
I love the fact that you're talking about dual leadership because you look at many corporations and you've got one person at the top.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
and and sometimes a lot of these people that are at the top are making the wrong decisions and they surround themselves with a lot of yes people. And
Hmm.
I think that, you've got this winning formula where, yeah, I always say I love to surround myself with really smart people. and people that will help me. We never get to where we're supposed to on our own. We surround ourselves with
No.
really good people to get to where we need to be. So I love this vision of yours, and I think it's an important one for people to understand and embrace as well. We have 40 seconds left to end this
Mm.
show. And what I want to know is, where and when are you the most content?
I'm the most content, when challenges occur. Challenges, light me up. Like, I love to find the solution, and again, not alone, always with in collaboration, and collaborating, creating. Challenges to me are my, Wheaties. They energize me.
I love
I
it. I
love
love
to,
it.
yeah,
Thank you so much, Deb. This
absolutely.
has been such a pleasure to speak with you, and I love how honest you've been throughout the whole episode.
Oh, I really loved speaking with you too, Liz. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Deb believes that being true to your authentic self gives you the confidence to know where you want to go and how you'll get there. And it all begins with understanding who you are at your deepest core and basically embracing that. I'm Elizabeth Naumovski, and I'm here to empower you and make frugality fashionable. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.